When it comes to Australian visitor visas, one of the most difficult options that you have to choose from is which stream is most suitable to you. Now, this can determine a lot of factors, including the types of conditions that will be placed and the criteria that will apply when the officer is assessing your visitor visa application. Today, we're going to talk about the difference between the tourist visa and the sponsored visitor visa. What is the difference, although it's the same subclass? What is the pros and cons of each one? Do you really need a sponsor? Is a sponsor better than the tourist stream? And which option works best for parents or relatives? The reality is they're not the same visa. The criteria for each one is different. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Abby from Migration Central Australia. And today we're going to talk about the visitor visas, specifically the tourist stream versus the sponsored family stream. A tourist visa is centered around your personal independence. So it should be mostly about how you will be able to meet the criteria, and there's no obligation on anyone else. Sometimes as far as we've seen the department saying, yes, you've attached evidence that your family member or friend will be supporting your stay financially and for all other expenses, but they still want to make sure that you have some kind of financial evidence from your end as well, that you'll be able to demonstrate to take care of your visit to Australia. On the other hand, a sponsored stream visa means a family member is inviting you to come and stay in Australia with them. Now, they will generally have to attach evidence of this, and they may be required to submit a certain amount of money by the government. Now, this is not always the case, but sometimes the department can request for a bond. Now, this is called an assurance of support bond to make sure that when you leave Australia, they'll be able to get the bond back. Now, this is generally used for high-risk applications. It does not commonly occur in a lot of cases. Now, the tourist visa is a much simpler application because you don't need the additional evidence for family members and their finances and making sure they don't have to pay a bond and everything else that comes with it. But it's also more risky because if you haven't traveled in the right countries, they can even be specific about which countries you've traveled to previously. Do they have a similar system for a visa application to Australia? Right, so if you've traveled to Western developed countries, then it would be easier for you to justify that you're going to come and visit Australia temporarily and then go back. We've seen visitor visa refusals of people that have traveled to other countries like Thailand, Malaysia, UAE, but still get rejected on the grounds that the department has said that you haven't traveled to a country whose visa system is not similar to ours. Now, when it comes to the tourist stream, you should be financially independent. You should clearly be able to justify why you're coming to Australia, the reason for your visit, and clearly state what dates you want to be in Australia. Even if it's for a holiday, make sure you state your dates, what the plan is, when you're planning to come, the significance of those dates, state everything in your application or attach a letter with your application that justifies all of this. Now, the sponsored stream is for inviting family members. You can sponsor certain family members. Not everyone you can sponsor. You can't sponsor a friend, for example. Now, you can't just assume that because it's a sponsored family visa application, and if a family member is inviting you, even though they might be really well off, that you will be invited or granted the visa. We've seen many applications where clients have more than $1 million sitting in their bank account and they still get rejected based on the country that they're from because they will pose a high risk. Even though they've had family members back home, right? They were leaving their wife and children back home to come and visit their brother. This happened with 3 brothers as an example that I'm talking about. The department still rejected the application that they did not allow them to come and visit their brothers and attend a wedding for one of their nephews, even though they had their entire families back home still. And the brother in Australia that was a citizen had $1 million plus in their bank account. So what does this mean? There is no better or safer options. You should really consider the grounds that you're applying for, the country that you're coming from, and whether a sponsorship is actually required. Sometimes, even though a sponsorship is available, we still end up pursuing the tourist visa route because it's a much simpler application as long as you can meet the criteria and it can be justified. Sometimes it's safer, depending on the travel history of that person, to go down the sponsorship route. So make sure you consult someone and get the right advice on which stream might be better suited. In every application, it's very important to demonstrate what ties you have back home and make sure you try and expand on every single tie back home and the reasons that you have to go back to your home country. Now, the other main difference that I want to talk about is when you apply for the sponsored stream, it comes with the condition 8503, which is the no further stay condition. If you have this condition, you generally cannot apply for most other visas while in Australia. Whereas if you apply for the tourist stream, the officer may or may not place that condition. It's at the discretion of the officer. Whereas the sponsored stream, it's guaranteed to have that condition on your visa. So if you do want to extend your visa after coming to Australia, apply for the tourist stream. If you do need to stay longer potentially to help take care of a child, for example, that your kids have had, so your grandchildren, and there is that potential to extend in the tourist stream, whereas it's not in the sponsored stream. The logic, the evidence, and the documents that you attach with your application is what really makes it strong. It's not about the stream that you choose, right? But it's circumstance-based, and that's how you should decide which stream you should go for. If this video helped you, please like and subscribe. Leave a comment down below if you have any more questions, or reach out to us if you have any requirements that you need clarification on for your visitor visa application.